Debbie. I'm here today to enjoy some beautiful sunshiny weather and to show you how to do some restorative poses at home using just one blanket. So we go into this yoga studio and there's lots of bolsters, there's blankets, there's blocks, there's sandbags, there's all these props. And we feel like we need to use them in order to create a restorative practice for ourselves. But really there's some yoga poses that you can do just using one blanket for support and still get all the benefits of that restorative practice. So go ahead, set up your mat, grab your blanket, and we're just going to use the blanket like a bolster. So I always recommend folding your blanket end to end first. And then you can fold it in the opposite direction, making your folds nice and smooth, getting all the wrinkles out. And then just keep folding it in opposite directions until you have a nice little rectangle. When we get to that smaller rectangle, we're going to take our blanket and we're going to fold it into thirds. Now if you take the loose end and fold that inside and then take the folds and take it around the outside, it'll help hold the shape a lot better. So we're going to take that bolster that we just created and we're going to put it down on the mat. I'm going to show you a nice little sequence that we can just circle around. We can do a variety of poses on one side and the other. It'll take you about 10 minutes and you'll get the benefits of that restorative practice in that short amount of time. Doesn't matter where you are as long as you have a blanket. All right, we're going to start in a restorative child's pose. So leaving your bolster on your mat, you're just going to come around onto your hands and knees. Walk your knees out wide, bring your big toes together. And then lay down onto your blanket. And we're going to start off turning our heads to the left. So you're going to put your right cheek down on that blanket. And just let your upper body come down and be supported. Now if you feel like you need more support underneath your chest, you move your blanket in a little bit. If your head's going past, you move your blanket out. Just find where it works for you. Let your arms rest on the ground by your blanket and just settle in. Now we can hold these poses for anywhere from 1 or 2 minutes up to 10 minutes, totally up to you. So if you'd like to hold your poses for longer than I'm offering on this video, just go ahead and pause the video. And when you're ready, you can just restart it again, move on to the next pose. Let's begin to transition out of our child's pose by lifting your upper body. And we're going to switch to a twisting pose by bringing your right knee over to the left side and then moving your left knee behind your right foot. And when you're ready, you can lay yourself back down on your bolster. Again, you want to put your right cheek down on the bolster so your head is turned the same way it was in child's pose. Really letting the twist come in the mid-back. Dropping the left side of the rib cage down towards your blanket. And finding your breath. Relaxing and releasing. And
nice thing about these restorative poses is that there's really no perfect way to set up the pose. There is no ideal alignment. We simply do what feels comfortable. And it might be different from day to day. You should feel grounded and relaxed. If at any time it becomes difficult to take a long, deep breath, then recheck your positioning. Make sure you're not tensing up, you're not overturning or twisting. So that you're very, very comfortable. Let's begin to transition out and lifting the upper body. And we're going to take our blanket and turn it crosswise across our mat now. And then turn your back to that blanket. And you're going to lay down over your blanket with the blanket right in the small of your back. You want to make sure that both your hips and your shoulder blades are on the mat. You can drop your arms open to the sides, making a letter T shape with the upper body. Make sure the head feels comfortable. And then bend your knees, put your feet on the earth, and drop your knees into each other. Your feet can be wide. Really releasing the low back onto that blanket. So we've got just a little bit of back bend going on here. And again, begin to find your breath. Letting the breath be slow, letting it be steady, feeling it flow into your belly. This is a wonderful heart-opening pose. And let's drop both knees over to the right. Doesn't matter if they reach the floor or the ground. Just release into a really easy twist, keeping the upper body exactly where it was. And then lift your knees, bring them back up to center, and we're going to drop them over to the left side. Repeating our easy elevated twist. Nothing has to change in the upper body. And continue to breathe deeply. And lift your knees. And very slowly, using your hands for support, ease yourself up off that blanket. And we're going to turn the blanket long ways again, dropping both knees over to the left. So we're continuing around in our circle and coming back into our twisting stretch on the other side. So we're going to take the right knee, move it behind the left foot. Left hip is near the bottom of that blanket. And then turning your heart to the blanket, go ahead and drop your upper body down. And you want to make sure that you're putting your left cheek down on the blanket now, so the head is turned in the other direction. We're getting an even stretch in the neck as we make our way around this circular series of poses. And continue to relax, to release. Taking very slow breaths. Feeling what it's like to bring breath down into the belly as you've got this little bit of twist in your spine. Maybe exaggerating that twist by dropping the right side of the rib cage down toward that blanket just a bit more. And nothing's forced, it's just relaxing, it's releasing, it's allowing gravity to work with you. And we're just going to take another couple breaths in this pose. And then begin to lift your upper body. And let's begin to ease our way out of this pose. Pressing up with your arms, bringing your upper body off the blanket. And we're going to transition around again into the same child's pose that we started in. So walk your knees out to the sides of the mat, upper body stays facing the blanket, big toes come together, hips onto the heels, and we're going to let the upper body come down onto that blanket. Keep your head turned to the right, so you're letting your left cheek rest on the mat. Making sure that that neck is, again, stretching in both directions. And you can stay with your child's pose as long as you'd like. If you'd like to take Savasana at the end of your practice, then go ahead and come around onto your back for Savasana. Maybe that blanket will go underneath your knees. Namaste.